husband dumped his disabled wife after she lost her job, unaware of her $100 million inheritance. Unaware of wife's $100 million inheritance, he dumped her after she became paralyzed and lost her job. She had given him everything: her time, her love, her strength. But when tragedy struck and a terrible accident left her paralyzed, his vows of forever turned to dust. The moment she lost her job, the man she trusted to be her rock became her executioner. "You're nothing but a burden now," he hissed as he shoved the divorce papers into her trembling hands. "I won't waste my life carrying dead weight. You can rot alone." Instead of choosing compassion, he chose cruelty. Instead of standing by her side, he walked away with another woman. At her weakest hour, he stripped her of dignity and love, leaving her to survive in silence. He thought her story was over. But what he didn't know was that the woman he cast aside, the one he called worthless, carried a secret: an inheritance worth $100 million. A fortune that would not only rebuild her shattered world, but also return her power in a way no betrayal could ever destroy. Sometimes the people you discard when they fall are the very ones destined to rise higher than you can ever imagine. Sometimes the shadow of the broken becomes the light you can never outrun. This is the story of betrayal, pain, and ultimate revenge. A story where love is tested, cruelty is exposed, and justice finds its voice. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button, and as you listen, tell us in the comments where you're watching from. The room was dim, but her eyes sparkled with pride as she watched him pace with his new business idea scribbled across a notepad. Claire had worked a 12-hour shift at the bank that day, but she still sat on the couch, nodding at every word her husband, Daniel, said. "I just need one more investor," Daniel insisted, waving his hands. "If this works, we'll never have to live paycheck to paycheck again. We'll be unstoppable." Claire smiled, though her body ached with exhaustion. "You'll get there, love. You always do. I'll cover the bills until things turn around." On the outside, it looked like devotion. A perfect wife cheering on her husband's dreams. Neighbors admired their bond. Colleagues envied Claire's supportive marriage. But behind the curtains, the truth was different. For every long day Claire worked to pay rent, Daniel spent hours in cafes with friends, talking big but producing little. She never complained. She cooked his meals, folded his laundry, and slipped him cash when he came home empty-handed. At night, when her legs trembled from fatigue, she told herself this was love, that someday he would see her sacrifice and repay it with equal devotion. But the imbalance grew heavier. Daniel began expecting her support, not appreciating it. "Don't nag me about money," he snapped one evening when she reminded him of overdue bills. "You think you're better because you have a job. Just wait. My time is coming." The words stung, but Claire swallowed the pain. She whispered to herself that he was only stressed, that real love meant patience. Her mother's worried voice on the phone echoed in her head. "Claire, a marriage where one builds and the other only takes will break you." She ignored it, convincing herself that she and Daniel were different. Yet deep inside, small cracks began to form. Every dismissal chipped at her heart. Every careless remark pressed weight onto her spirit. She smiled less, laughed less, carried more. To outsiders, Claire was the picture of devotion, but in her quiet moments, she felt the slow erosion of her worth. One night, after paying the last of their savings toward his failed pitch, Claire crawled into bed. She reached for Daniel's hand, seeking comfort. He pulled away. "Don't touch me. I'm thinking." The rejection hit harder than his words. In the silence of that dark room, Claire realized the truth she had been avoiding. Her love was being drained like water poured into cracked earth. No matter how much she gave, it would never be enough. Her heart trembled, but she still held on. Little did she know this imbalance was only the beginning. The storm that would break her world was already gathering, closer than she imagined. It was raining the night everything changed. Claire had stayed late at work, finishing reports her exhausted eyes could barely focus on. The streets were slick, the headlights blurred, and as she crossed the road to catch her bus, a horn blared, tires screeched, the world spun. A delivery truck hit her. The impact was violent, her body thrown against cold pavement, breath ripped from her lungs, pain shot like lightning through her spine, her legs refusing to move. Sirens screamed in the distance as strangers gathered, their voices muffled by the storm. "Stay with us," a man shouted, pressing his jacket under her head. But Claire's vision darkened, her body shaking from fear. At the hospital, bright lights pierced her eyes as doctors worked frantically. Hours blurred into minutes until at last, the words she dreaded filled the room. "The accident has damaged her spinal cord. She may never walk again." Daniel stood in the corner, his face pale. For a moment, Claire thought he would break down and hold her hand, but instead his jaw tightened. "So she's paralyzed?" His tone was flat, more shock than sorrow. "Yes," the doctor said gently. "She will need intensive care, rehabilitation, and a strong support system." Claire's heart raced. A strong support system. That meant Daniel, the man she had carried all these years, would now have to carry her. At first, he tried to play the role. He told the nurses, "I'll take care of her." But Claire noticed the cracks immediately. The way he sighed when lifting her into a wheelchair, the sharpness in his voice when she needed help in the middle of the night. One evening, she asked softly, "Will you still love me like this?" Her voice trembled with fear. Daniel didn't answer. He stared at the TV, pretending not to hear. Fear settled heavy in her chest. Her mother called daily, her voice full of worry. "Claire, I'll come stay with you. You don't need to carry this alone." But Claire, still clinging to the hope of her husband's devotion, said no. She was vulnerable, trapped in a body that no longer obeyed her, relying on a man who once relied only on her. Every request for help felt like another test, and every sigh from Daniel revealed the truth. His loyalty was fragile. One night, as she struggled to shift in bed, she heard him on the phone in the next room. "I can't do this anymore," Daniel whispered harshly. "She's dead." "Wait, you don't understand. My whole life is slipping away because of her." Claire's stomach dropped, her blood running cold. He wasn't just frustrated, he was looking for a way out. And then she heard a woman's voice reply, soft, tempting, dangerous. "I'll be here for you, Daniel. You deserve better." Claire froze. The betrayal was no longer just in her fears. It was real. Claire's recovery at home was supposed to be a new chapter of healing. Instead, it became a slow-motion nightmare. On the first day back, Daniel wheeled her into the apartment, dropped her in the living room, and muttered, "Don't expect me to do everything. I have my own life, too." His words sliced deeper than the pain in her spine. The fridge was nearly empty, unpaid bills piled on the counter, and her phone buzzed with reminders from the bank. Her job at the bank had already been taken by someone else. She had missed too many days, and they couldn't hold her position. For the first time in years, she had no income. "Daniel, can you help me call HR?" "Maybe I can still," she began, voice hopeful. "Claire, stop. They don't want you anymore," he interrupted. "Face reality. You can't work. You can't earn. And now I have to carry everything." But he didn't carry anything. Instead, he spent his days disappearing with friends. Nights coming home late, smelling of perfume that wasn't hers. He left her alone for hours, sometimes forgetting to leave food where she could reach it. The financial pressure mounted. Rent notices turned red. Creditors called daily. When Claire asked about the bills, Daniel snapped, "If you hadn't gotten yourself crippled, we wouldn't be in this mess." Each word eroded trust. Each day chipped away at hope. She tried reaching out to neighbors, but whispers followed her. That poor woman, such a shame, and her husband always with someone new. The pity stung almost as much as the isolation. Her mother begged again, "Claire, come stay with me. Don't let this man bury you in shame." But Claire, still clinging to vows she had once believed sacred, replied, "Mom, he's my husband. He'll come around. He has to." Yet deep inside, she knew the man she loved was already gone. The worst night came when she woke thirsty and tried to wheel herself toward the kitchen. The chair jammed against the carpet, and she fell hard to the floor, pain radiating through her fragile body. She cried out for Daniel. Minutes passed. No answer.